Blinker fluid. What the blinker fluid? What even is... What the... I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. I'm confused. I need a terp. I need a terp. I need a terp. I need someone to break it down for me. I need someone to explain. Oh, okay. Let me see here. All that looks good. All those things be looking fly. Okay, we got Mel here. Forever ago is crazy. Mobile not working, huh? Well, fortunately, we've got a lead up. You know what I'm saying? Fortunately, we've got a little bit of runway. It ain't the end of the world. We got a little bit. So it's got a chance to sort itself out. You know what I'm saying? Technology gonna be technologying. Ridiculous. But I appreciate all the tabs, Mel. Thank you very much. Hot Pride's here. Hell yeah. Let's go. Valk is here. Hiya, Valk. There's Retro. Hi, Retro. A disappointment pack for Retro. Alright. It's on there. Alright. It's on the ledger. That disappointment pack. Okay, what else? Oh, well, there. Valk is vibing. We love to see it. And Guts is here with that blinker fluid. That terribly important blinker fluid, which I can't do until the camera's on. Can't do until the camera's on. That would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous. Because then you'd be like, oh, no, I know he did it. Oh, I know he did. I don't know. Alright, blinker fluid. Let's get after it. Let's get after that blinker fluid. Let's do it. We'll get going, baby. We're gonna quickly just geez, okay. Okay. We got there in the end. Just took, 10 years. Jeez. We went for accuracy over speed this time, y'all. We went for accuracy over speed. Okay. I'm gonna drop content. Thank you, Guts. I appreciate it. I have been looking at a screen for an awfully large chunk of my last 48 hours. No, longer than that. For the last 3 years of my life, doing all of this with you guys. So, yes, greetings, salutations all. And the devil are you? As stuff has things up, you guys are being treated okay. Hope the time zones are being kind to you. It is to be hoped. Got it, I'm home. Bet. Hi, Mel. Glad you're back. Still working, but home. Oh, I got you. Not on mobile. I see you. Hello, Retro. S'mores is here. Hi, S'mores. Good to see you guys. Good to have you guys locked in. It's an important night. An important night. We got important business to get to. Yes, we do. Yes, it's true. So, okay. Everything's pulled up. Everything's rocking and rolling. I'm going to try to be somewhat quick about all this tonight. So, we're gonna get right into the components, you guys. We're gonna get right into the components of an ideal talk. We're gonna do that thing. It's gonna be a for realsies thing. Not one of those fake things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm after. You know what I'm after. Luce! How you doing, Luce? It's good to see you. Welcome in. Good evening to you. Good to have you. Good to have you. So, gang, if you guys are new around these parts, you might not know that Gus Talks are more serious, our hat tip to the serious side of real relationships. We do silly and we do serious around the Mafia. And I believe that no real relationship can be absent one or the other. You need both. You need both. And that's what we're doing. We're doing real relationship with one another, with intentionality, in community, and and so there's silliness throughout the week. Of course there is. We certainly had some of that on Tuesday in it, and it was a really ridiculous night. Thank you to all of you who were there. We had a bunch more silliness blended with the seriousness all day on Wednesday. For those of you who were there for the rendezvous, big to do on Wednesdays in that case. We've got more tomorrow, more rendezvousing tomorrow. But tomorrow morning is going to start with a just chatting stream, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to hang out and vibe, bring you up to speed on what the heck's happening in your life and all that jazz. Saturday mornings are the time and place for that. That's where I get to touch bases with those of you that I don't normally get to see, especially those of you in different time zones who ought to be sleeping now. Hopefully I'll catch you during the waking hours when I'm live in the morning. And then, tomorrow evening, I will be, fingers crossed, finishing Bramble, the Mountain King, which is a hilarious and wild, sordid game based on the Swedish folklore. So, you know, nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare fuel. Turns out, I still have some ways to go. So actually, I'm going to try and pick up the pace, and I thought I was going to, like, finish it, wrap it up, because I was right near the end. I am not right near the end, it turns out. So, we're going to be trying to zoom. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to be zooming through that on Saturday. That's the plan. That's the plan, you guys. And now you know it. And now you know it. Dorian, it's good to see you. No, you. I hope that you're well, dude. I hope that you're doing all right. And if you're streaming today, I hope the stream treats you kindly. Dorian be one of them cool kids on multi-platforms, you guys. He do be. Got him over in Rumble Land. What a gentleman. What a gentleman this Dodo be. This guy, this fella. So. For those of you, again, unfamiliar with Gus Talks on Friday nights, where we delve into more serious business, let me just say, there are 3 components what comprise an ideal talk. We need 3 accoutrements for the talk itself. Now, many nights of late, I've not been able to partake of element number 2, and that's because it's a good cigar, and I've not yet fixed this place up in here to allow me to do that. It's a logistics nightmare to have a cigar in of doors, let me tell you. Let me tell you, and to not ruin everything you love and kill all the plants. So, yeah, no cigar tonight. But, element number 1 of an ideal talk, good drink. Good drink. So, we're starting things off with a pour. Now, I'm feeling like we go back to basics here tonight. You know, we're doing singleness. We're doing the foundation of things. I feel like we go back to a foundation of sorts. You know what I'm saying? We go to the flagship. We go to an entry level. We go to the Lottie. That's what I'm thinking as we go to the Lottie. So, I don't know what you guys are thinking about that, but I am thinking about that. I think we go Lottie. Very good. And what kind of glass? What kind of glass? You know, we'll go for a classic. We'll go for a classic here. Classic glass for a classic Lottie. So, by all means, let me know what it is you are partaking of here in chat for a good drink for element number 1. It needn't be alcoholic. If you are not able to do such things, if you are, say, s'mores and you can't be, your body can't be handling all that business, no booze for you. No booze for you. But, let me know what you've got. Water, tea, coffee. Tell me what it is you've got for element number 1 in chat. And you guys get a little bit of bottle asthma as we kick this bad boy off a little bit. Just a touch. You get a little thum, a little bit. I'm gonna have to get more Lottie. Looks like we're running somewhat low. We're running a touch low. The Lottie. The Lottie. So yeah, that's what I've got for element number 1. Now, dear friends, this is where each week I say I get to element number 2, but element number 3, this is where I come empty-handed each week, and that's because it's good company. Each week I'm lost without you arriving and doing this thing where you do the hard mode business and sacrifice time and energy, and you risk mightily to do this thing meaningfully. Being here, good company. Wouldn't be much of a talk without you, would it? I mean, I would still be talking, but it wouldn't be much of... You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, it is to you, the remarkable caliber of human, that makes this thing possible with your time, your talents, your treasures. All of you who sacrifice to make this thing happen. All of you who are here with your bandwidth when you could be spending a Friday Eve any old where, doing any old thing, and yet here you are. And that says a great deal about the caliber of human who chooses such a thing, and who chooses to give this their attention. It's no small thing, not at all. So it's to you, that very sort, that I get to raise, to whom I get to raise my first glass of the evening. Cheers. Loves me the Lottie. Freaking excellent. Excellent drink. Excellent drink. Can't go wrong with the Luddy. Decent price point, too, for an entry-level pour. Decent. Not the best in the world, but decent. So, okay. Tell me what you guys are drinking. Let me see. Let me hear. Did manage to get a river otter camera mounted outside the crawl space door. You are cracking me up, Dorian. With our frickin'... Have you named her yet? Have you named Mama Otter? Mama Otter? That's... do we have a name? That's ridiculous. Hope to catch the pups following the mom soon. And then play the flute. Hell yeah, get them flute reps in. Gotta get them over there. Be that pie and pipers. Get the pies ready in one hand, the piping in the other. That's crazy, my dude. Wild Dorian. Mammy, how you doing? Oh, got here early, and I'm glad for it. It's good to see you. Drinking coffee. All right, Mammy's got coffee. What else you guys got? Dirty Mountain Dew again. Guts, my brain. It hurts just thinking about it, I swear. Water and black coffee. Yeah. Water and bean water. Beater? Yeah, that's right. We've got water and hot bean juice. Hot bean water. Instead of hot leaf juice? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Okay, I got you. Water and a dirty water. So, Guts is drinking dirty Mountain Dew. You're drinking dirty water. Got it, okay. Another turbo coupon. Yeah, I've seen that pop up all of the time now, Guts. Now I see that at the top of the chat on all of the channels that I visit. Yeah. So, I don't know. Chef's case is 58 of them. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I appreciate it. Enter with too much excitement. Pish posh. We live our lives out loud around here. Ain't gonna be complaining about the chef's kisses and the kindnesses. I'm glad to see you. Appreciate you, madame. All right. Let me see here. Pool. Hiya, Pool. Hello. An iced coffee. Plant-based lentil creamer. Something light. Because of back pain. Sad face. That back pain. This is just like... I was going to say you carry this around, but literally you got this on your back. It's back pain, so... I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. Iced coffee does sound good, though. It sounds refresh. That does sound refresh. See, the thing about drinking whiskey neat, you guys, is it is not refresh. Whiskey is never refresh. And so it's one of those deals where it's like, if it's hot, it's not sweltering right now, but it's toasty day. It's a toasty day. It's in the 80s. Whiskey will not cool you down. That's not the effect that it has. You know what I'm saying? Like, technically it has a cooling effect because it causes the blood to leave your core and go out to your extremities, and then it therefore can dissipate faster or whatever. But it's like, it's not something you notice. It's not refreshing. It's not like refreshing or cold on the palate, you know? Just whiskey, neat. So, I'd take the iced coffee. I'm gonna take it. I hate that for you. Oh, we can share the annoying turbo ad pain together. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous. So, thank you to everybody who makes all this happen. Everybody who has sacrificed to give this thing a present. And hopefully also a future. All of you guys that have parted with $5 a month through Rumble, through Coffee, through Patreon. I'm grateful. Grateful indeed. But I owe an extra special debt of gratitude to the public patrons. These are the folks who have taken that $5 a month, wherever, to the next level. That would be Aki, Leanne, Gail, Goose, Kira, Abby, Tink, Helly, May, Karma, Pencil, Pre, Retro, Rick, Ryan, Mouse, Trosky, Pell, CJ number 1, and Zin. Thank you guys. Means an awful heckin' lot. I say it all the time, but it always bears repeating as often as I say it. Any good that comes from this project can be traced right back to you. I don't take that sacrifice of yours lightly. No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay, I gotta get everything ready to lock in because we're gonna be disabling raids as we kick things off. We're not there yet. We'll have the little banner running. We'll disable raids. We'll get all that stuff locked and loaded before we launch into the seriousness. But yes, I am looking to try and be a little more respectful of your guys' time tonight so you guys can get off to wherever you need to get to. Bed for some of you. But yeah, this is going to be a continuation of where we've been with the singleness bit of the relationships masterclass. And that is, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. It has taken months and months to prepare this thing. Well, years. It's taken years to prepare this thing. Months and months to get it to kind of where I want it. And then now, days and days and days leading up to each talk, because I changed my mind. And I'm like, nope, this is too long. We need to shorten it. I thought I liked it months ago. Now I hate it. Change it. So, yeah. I had a whole long, it was still too long, an extra long talk planned for tonight. And I kind of scrapped the entire thing for tonight. I didn't scrap it entirely. I kind of shunted it off for next week. Next week, I'll be visiting a lot of what I had planned for tonight, because I decided that actually there's some stuff that should be said ahead of that. There's some preamble, there's sort of a prerequisite, and so, yep, now it's like 4 talks on singleness, which I don't love. I'm really hoping that actually I can round out singleness next week and have it just be 3. That's my plan. That's my plan. How many hours it takes between my talking to you right now and when that comes to fruition, next Friday, how possible is it? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out together. We're gonna find out together. I'm very scared. Very scared. But yes, tonight was a lot. Tonight was a lot of time. A lot of time. But I'm pretty pleased with it overall. It's still a little long for my liking. I'm going to try to go fast, you guys. My plan is to kind of read quickly. Okay? I've written out my thoughts here, and I'm going to try to be quick. I don't want it to be as long as last week. I want you guys to be able to have something more bite-sized than what I've been delivering. So yeah, that's the aim. Whiskey, what they put in the St. Bernard? Yes, it is. For snow rescues. That is actually, S'mores, a bit of an urban legend. And that's because, yes, it would have been whiskey. It would have been a brandy in particular, but it's kind of a similar-ish thing. It was some sort of grain alcohol. It could have been a brandy, a fruit-based, whatever. But yes, the thinking is that it warms you. The problem with that idea, actually, is that when you are freezing and you need to stay alive, you keep the heat in your core. That's what's terribly important, because that keeps your organs working, right? You might get frostbite and stuff on the tips of your fingies and your nose and all the rest of that, but that's because your body is triaging. Your body can't be buggered to care about the tips of your fingers and stuff, which don't have to do with your survival. Your body needs to focus on keeping your organs moving things. Because if any of those go down, you just, die, and then it doesn't matter if you lose a finger or 2 or 3 or 10. You know what I'm saying? So, that's your body triaging. Figuring out, okay, life preservation here. We'll deal with the missing hand later. We'll deal with the frost-bitten nose later. We'll deal with all that stuff later. Toes, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But the problem with alcohol is it increases blood flow and heat out to your extremities. And so the reason that this is a tricky and dangerous thing is because people who are cold drink alcohol thinking it's warming them up. And that's because they get a, quote, warming sensation in their limbs. Your hands feel warmer, your feet, your extremities feel warmer. They do. They genuinely get warmer. Because all the blood is leaving your core and going out to your extremities. So yes, you do flush, and you do feel warmer, and then you die. Because your heat has left your core, so you freeze to death. As opposed to just having some frostbite on the fingies and so forth. So actually, the St. Bernard deal with the little casks around their collar and all that jazz, yeah, that would expedite someone dying. That would speed along the process of them dying. So actually, those little cases that they carried around typically contained like medical supplies of some kind. But there are versions of it where it's bringing It's bringing this as a way to ease the passing of a person who is suffering and dying. But yeah, that's not a thing, not good medical advice. And for all of you snowboarders and skiers out there who are out there doing the snow sports, yes, it's fun to drink while you're doing that stuff. But also, if you like do backcountry stuff, very much not recommended, because it may kill you before ski patrol can find you if you get buried or whatever it is. And so yeah, alcohol not so much your friend in the cold, turns out. Working with Alaska State Public Safety. Oh wow, 100,000%. Alcohol is dangerous in the cold. Just thought the mountain dog thing was real from back in the day. Oh yeah, before we knew better. There was the whole like ease their passing thing. I don't know. After working for it. Gotcha. Yeah. It's a crazy thing, you guys. It's a crazy thing. Okay. I don't know if we're all here. I don't know. This is something that I lament each week, is the people who clamor the loudest for my doing this series are the ones notably absent. And that is heartbreaking. Because I do know that people need this material. It's important material. I certainly needed this. I wish I had somebody tell me these things when I was younger. More on that next week. But yeah, that's nothing to be done. I'm grateful to all of you who are here. I don't take that time for granted at all. It's yummy. That is yummy. Okay. Trying to kill a fly. Yeah, you gotta kill the fly, otherwise the dog will kill your house. Mel's dog is afraid of flies, you guys. And so she has to be on top of killing flies, otherwise the dog will destroy everything she loves. That's the way the cookie do crumble in that house. It turns out. Big giant, speaking of big giant St. Bernard type dogs, that's Mel's dog. Terrified of flies. Just picture the giant doggo, absolutely petrified. Destroys everything with his giant bull in a china shop. Locked in the bathroom. That is so funny. Have to go to battle, protect. Hardworking Gus head pats. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, S'mores. Yeah. I'm gonna try. I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying. Okay. Raids are disabled. Our banner is running. Wow. It's game on. We made it in under 30 minutes. We did it. We did it. Okay. As ever, gang, I'm going to be holding forth for the lecture portion of this. And I'm going to be missing chat. So if you guys have any like point redeems and stuff like that, you're just throwing money away. I'm not going to see any of them. Don't throw your money away. Don't throw your points away. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because yeah, I can't see chat anymore as of this minute. Now I can't see chat. So I'm gonna be holding forth, and I hope that you guys are buckled up, because again, I'm gonna read kind of fast. That's the plan. Kind of fast. Okay. 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 Whew. I guess timestamp. 30 minutes. The Relationships Masterclass. Singleness, Part 2. Boilerplate. My standard disclaimer. I'm not a licensed whatever for all of the whatever, okay? Just some guy in a tie who knows a thing or three and has spent countless hours studying and living this stuff with intentionality and sitting at the feet of others who've gone before me. So as always, your mileage may vary. And I will add to that you'll get out of this what you put into it. And if you get nothing out of it, I guarantee it's because you put nothing into it. You gave it no thought, you gave it no care. Otherwise, it is of benefit as a matter of course. Not patting myself on the back, just a statement of the way reality works. That's all. That's all. Okay. Have any of you listening ever been to Egypt? If you're watching this after the fact, let me know in chat. Let me know in the comments below, okay? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever been to Egypt. I'm curious how many of our audience, perhaps you live in Egypt, don't know. Hot Bride and I have some friends who just went on a scuba trip there, okay? You're like, in Egypt? Maybe you're picturing, like, that's an odd place to go scuba-ing. Don't forget, you've got the whole Mediterranean and the Nile and all of them. There's lots of water there out in that direction. So, yeah, you don't write it all off, okay? You've got the Red Sea and all of the goodness there. So there's quite a lot going on. So they went on a scuba trip there, one of my old Marines and his bride. And they showed us when they came back the bajillion pictures that they took of where all they went. Incredible landscapes, some underwater shots. They friggin' loved it. They said it was incredible. And they were based out of Cairo when they were going through all this, okay? And the pictures, of course, included what Egypt is most famous for. One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the pyramids, including the Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest of them, okay? And then, that's something I've seen pictures of a handful of times. My grandparents went to Egypt. I saw pictures from their trip there, from their sharing those stories and those pictures and all of that. And if for those of you who for some reason are not familiar, here they are. Look, we've got the Great Pyramids right here. Now, I want you to see this structure was built a very long time ago, okay? We're talking thousands of years BC, and this was the largest structure in the world, okay? This was for thousands of years, in fact. This is the tallest structure in the world. In fact, it held the record for the world's tallest structure for over 4,000 years, sitting at 481 feet high. Which, yeah, right now we might scoff at a little bit, but that's where it was, okay? That's what it was. And so we got all the pictures of the Great Pyramids, one of the great wonders of the ancient world. Iconic pictures, obviously, iconic structures. Everybody's familiar with the pyramids, really. And then, well, you go back to antiquity like this, and you see them build structures like this, edifices to something, and these ancient marvels, these ancient wonders of the world. That held the record for, again, over 4,000 years. And then you get to, like, the 20th century in particular. There are a couple old cathedrals and church things and structures that technically surpassed it for a spell and all that. But we really started kind of blowing those numbers out of the water in the 20th century, okay? In particular, we really started in on other projects that really passed it on up, okay? And I've got some of them here for you. I'm skipping around the things, but some that iconic ones that you guys might be familiar with, like the Empire State Building, okay? It was completed in 1931, and it went up to 1,250 feet. Obviously, this is quite a big difference compared to the pyramids, and it's 400 and something feet high. So this was a big to-do, and it barely, by a handful of meters, beat out the Sears Tower and some other buildings there in New York. So Empire State Building, which stayed the tallest building in the world for a while, and then it got surpassed by another one, and another one, and another one, and then we end up with what we've got today. Tallest presently standing structure in the world, and we've got the Burj Khalifa. Okay, Burj Khalifa over in Dubai, and it stands at 2,700 feet. Okay, sucker is tall indeed, and it's like a whole to-do. It's so big, in fact, that you can actually watch the sunset down at down at ground level, and then you could take the elevator to the top of the thing, and you could watch the sunset all over again. Curvature of the earth business. It's really something. And then that was completed a handful of years back. And now we're looking at the structures going forward, things that are under construction, like the Dubai Creek Tower. Okay, this is something that's happening. It's taking place. Its foundations are in place, but there have been construction delays and all that jazz, keeping it going. But this is a cable tower. And you can see the cables on it here that are like a bridge holding the thing up. All the structural challenges of getting something this tall to be stable like this, okay? And so this is currently under construction. There have been delays, so we're not sure when it's going to be done. But this one will, at its completed, if it sticks to plans, will be all the way up at 4,600 feet tall. The tallest structure in the world by no small amount. Again, that's a damn near a doubling of the current highest building.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
What? That's crazy, Mammy. Thank you. I appreciate the follow. Rumble means an awful heckin' lot. Thank you. You gem. You gem. So, Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Creek Tower, and that takes us into some more projects that have been planned or have been architected out, okay, that have been spelled out for us here. Here's one. We start getting into some crazy stuff, okay? This is the Shimizu Mega City Pyramid in the Tokyo Bay. This is a proposed structure, giant superstructure, that is purposed with massively expanding the population capacity of the Tokyo area outside of Tokyo Bay here. This would be an enormous undertaking, and it has been blueprinted. This thing is thought out. This thing is architected to hell and planned for, okay? And again, we'd be jumping up with this thing, this massive structure, which is really a structure of structures, at damn near 6,600 feet. Again, quite a big jump, certainly from our current tallest structure in the world. So we're jumping from 2,700 feet here all the way up to 6,600 feet. Crazy this structure, all right? And that takes us to the largest, the second largest proposed structure, the Ultima Tower. This is one that's being planned for actually San Francisco in California. Its designer, this guy Eugene, based it on African termite mounds, giant termite towers, and how they work and how they function and how they cool and all of that jazz. And this is one that is proposed. And you can see, here's the Burj Khalifa right here in Dubai. Okay, the current world's tallest building down here. So this is the 2-mile-high Ultima Tower, okay? This is proposed, massive structure. Crazy thing. Okay, planned for San Francisco. And finally, the Exceed 4000. So named for the 4,000 meters high that it is proposed to be. Okay? And 4 kilometers into the sky. 2.5 miles up. Okay? 2.5 miles tall. Not 2.5 miles above sea level or anything like that. The structure itself would be 2.5 miles tall. Okay? Now, this one, there are no plans at present to have this thing be built. Okay? There are no current, groundbreaking type stuff going on, but this one is the tallest building at present ever planned and blueprinted. This has construction-grade blueprints drafted up for it. All right? This could be built. Theoretically, the math has been done, the numbers have been crunched, and this is the tallest structure that has been so planned, okay? And for reference here, the base of this, you can see this obviously massive base to this thing, would be 6 kilometers across. Okay? 6 kilometers from end to end here, covering a total 36 square kilometers. This thing has a footprint of 36 square kilometers. Kind of nuts, right? That is kind of wild, that thing. Kind of wild, that thing. But it is architected, it's spelt out, the numbers, the math works, and it is theoretically possible. What do you notice about the scaling of these projects as they get bigger and bigger? We'll bring up some of these again. Okay? Over here. We go to these over here. The base of this particular one, okay? The base of this, which is currently under construction. Again, already groundbreaking. This is already going. This has a footprint of roughly 6 square kilometers. The pyramid here has roughly 8 square kilometers at its base. All right. This one has over 10 square kilometers at its base. And the Exceed 4000 would be 36 square kilometers for its footprint. Their base keeps widening. The taller the structure, the wider the base has to be, okay? And that's because of physics. I won't go into it all here. You guys didn't sign up for a physics lecture, but there are more reasons than just this. But if you're curious, look up what's called the square cube law, okay? The square cube law. That explains that there are physical limits to how tall structures can be under normal gravity, under normal, like, gravitational conditions, okay? Changes things when you get into space or if you're in water, etc. But if under normal gravity, square cube law, it's part of it. Okay, look it up. Look it up. So, to achieve these heights, the kinds of heights we're talking about, for buildings that are already in existence, for those that are underway, and for those that have been planned to come. An enormous amount of planning and clever engineering has to go into designing these buildings to withstand things like crosswinds, big challenge, and earthquakes, an even bigger challenge, all right? It has sometimes been the case throughout history, however, that engineering was simply not well enough understood at the time of design and construction. And that lack of understanding led both to structural failure and, subsequently, lessons learned. For instance, the Warsaw radio mast, okay? This was 646 meters tall, built in 1991 in Warsaw, in Poland, okay? And it was the tallest structure in the world at the time, this massive radio tower. And because there had never been anything like it, there was insufficient understanding of the dynamic loads on such an extreme structure. It collapsed due to wind. They were doing maintenance on one of the guy cables that ran off of this thing, and the thing snapped in half and fell over. Okay, fortunately, this thing is in the middle of nowhere, and no one was killed or hurt, but the whole thing came down, all right? So even still, court cases resulted in prison sentences for the construction coordinator and division chief. This became a case study for future mega projects, and the lessons learned from its failure have led to the construction of even taller structures that have withstood far worse environmental and engineering challenges. Okay? They're still standing to this day. But what happens when designers, engineers, and construction workers ignore the lessons of the past? What happens when best practices are foregone? Case in point, the Bangkok State Audit Office building, Thailand, okay? This was a roughly 33-story building at the time of its total collapse. All right, in 2025. This is a recent one. You can look this up. Despite the Thai capital being relatively far from the epicenter of the earthquake, due to shoddy planning and workmanship, this partially completed building suffered catastrophic structural failure and total collapse, killing 95 people and injuring several more. Okay? Prosecutors indicted 23 suspects, including individuals and companies, on charges such as professional negligence causing death and breaching construction regulations. Despite no other buildings in the area being damaged by the quake, because best practices for building were ignored, the structure failed, and those building it were the ones that paid the price, as it was the construction workers who were actively working on this thing that were killed as a consequence. And this had consequences not just for the structure itself, which was a total loss, not just for the people who were inside, but for everything around it as well. It cost billions of dollars in damages, including the building value itself, all of that, rescue, which went on for an enormous, extraordinarily long amount of time, cleanup, and more. All because best practices were ignored. We knew better. The engineers knew better. The construction workers knew better. We had lived out the cautionary tales already, and they're widely available for everyone to know and to learn from. So why another talk on singleness? The higher and grander the structure, the wider its base must be. And marriage is a grand thing indeed, gang. This series is purposed with going through the seasons of our lives relationally, from single to married, and all that mess in between. And if indeed the final destination of this is marriage, then the foundation matters a great deal. You've got to get the foundation right if the superstructure is to have any chance of withstanding what all life will throw at it. The same is true of relationships. Similarly to our buildings examples, when a marriage fails, it affects not just the couple, but everyone around them as well. Many of you are living proof of this. When a marriage fails, when a relationship fails, it doesn't fail in a vacuum, does it? We need to get this right. And doing so means drawing on the lessons learned from those who have gone before us. Poor planning and workmanship can be disastrous here, so even if you dismiss the hazard to yourself, consider the hazard it presents to everyone else in your life. Proper planning and execution for such projects begins with the foundation. If the foundation isn't given enough attention, the rest won't matter. And, as we established in the previous talk, that foundation is your worldview. This is something I wanted to spend more time on in the previous talk, but the lecture was already longer than I would have preferred, so we'll give it some more of the attention that it absolutely does need here tonight. As a quick reminder, one of the two things that the season, a quick refresher here, okay? A quick refresher for them. One of the two things that the season of singleness is purposed with is to secure an undistracted devotion to the highest conceivable good. Okay? What that highest conceivable good is depends entirely on your worldview. Okay? For example, the text from which said admonition is derived is that of the Judeo-Christian worldview, and the explicit object of that devotion is the Lord. You are to use the season of singleness to secure an undistracted devotion to Him. Okay? But, regardless of whether or not your worldview is a Judeo-Christian one, the admonition itself remains the same. It's only the object of that devotion that changes. Per our simple breakdown, then, one is to use the season of singleness to pursue truth. That is, this is the time to figure out what you believe, about, well, everything. Or, more aptly put, it's the time to discern what is worth believing in. What holds up to the ravages of reality? What can support the weight of scrutiny and criticism? What will remain firm beneath your feet regardless of what happens in life? That is what's referred to as one's worldview. Worldview, from the German Weltanschauung, okay, meaning world perception, or literally world view. Okay? It refers to the fundamental set of beliefs, assumptions, and frameworks through which an individual or group understands and interprets reality, existence, and human life. That's what a worldview is, okay? Core elements of it include answers, implicit or explicit, to big questions, such as ontology. What is the nature of reality? A materialist one, a spiritual, a dualist, okay? Epistemology. How do we know what is true? Reason, faith, science, intuition. Cosmology, anthropology. Where did we come from? What is the purpose of human life? Axiology. What is good, valuable, or moral? This is ethics and virtues. Teleology, okay? What is the ultimate destiny or end goal of existence? Praxeology. How should we live and act in the world? All of these questions, okay, fall under one's worldview. How you, an individual, answers any one of those questions is your worldview. Okay? And regardless of whether or not we've ever consciously articulated its specifics, we each have a worldview. We each have one. Okay? I like to say that our earliest worldviews are formed at the intersection of nature and nurture. Okay, that is, your earliest beliefs about those big questions will come from your natural, hardwired inclinations and disposition, which will inform how likely you are to delve into any one idea or posit in the first place. And that has to do with how meticulous you are, how curious you are, how intellectually honest you generally are, etc., etc., okay? It will be formed as a combination of that nature and from observing the worldviews of those who raise you, the nurture side of this, okay, the nurture side of life, which itself will be a combination of your observations from both what they say they believe, those raising you that is, and what they actually live out when the rubber meets the road. You might have been raised by someone who says one thing, but then lives another, and that discord, that discordance may be cause for you to dismiss what all they preach. Sadly, that very phenomenon is the reason so many of you checked out as soon as you heard me say the word worldview. You grew up hearing someone say one thing and then live another. Their walk and their talk did not agree. And the consequences of that is that you say all so-called worldviews are sus. Someone uses the word worldview, dismiss them, cast them out, toss them out, okay? But to say so is to misunderstand what a worldview is. To reiterate, you do have a worldview. You do. No matter who you are or where you are, you have a worldview. Even if you've not articulated it fully, you do have one. You listening right now, and it influences everything you say and do. It's a holistic lens through which one sees everything in life. Politics, science, religion, economics, relationships, and even your daily, often innocuous decisions. Beyond merely coloring how you see the world, your worldview then goes on to influence how you act in the world. Your behavior, priorities, and judgments about what is normal, rational, or good all stem from your worldview. Some examples, just examples of some of the major worldview that worldviews that exist out there. Okay, examples of some major worldviews: materialism, naturalism. Okay, reality consists only of matter and energy, no supernatural or supernatural realm of any kind. Okay, there's theism, or the broadly religious kinds of worldviews. Maybe it's a personal god or gods who created and or govern or maintain the universe. Okay, there's postmodernism, where truth and morality are social constructs. Okay, and they're all relative. There's humanism, where human reason and experience are the primary sources of knowledge and
As
ethics.
far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
What? Olympian? Or do you go by outlaw? Wow. Outlaw? I appreciate it. Means an awful heck of a lot, outlaw. Thank you for following Rumble. I don't know how I have the pleasure of having you in. I don't know how I've earned such a thing, but I take it quite seriously indeed. So thank you. Aim to earn it. Between the silly and the serious. Aim to earn it. Again, humanism, that last one. Human reason and experience are the primary sources of knowledge and ethics. Okay? Put simply, all of these and all the rest that I didn't say, because there are many, your worldview is the mental map you use to navigate life. It determines what you consider possible, true, important, or even worth debating. Right? Philosophers, theologians, and social scientists study worldviews because even little baby small differences in them can lead to dramatically different conclusions about what to do with the same facts. And that is why it's so important for a masterclass on relationships. And why, specifically, I'm placing so much emphasis on it for the season of singleness. Remember, singleness is the opportunity to cement who we are, what we believe, and what we pursue prior to adding another human to the equation. All right? Do you recall the illustration, my illustration from the last time, of what a relationship is? The picture of it, okay? That of two people linking arms, or I also said it's like two people who have a leg bound together in a three-legged race, right? Okay, you guys remember those? You know that picture? What that sort of relationship is? Well, here's why. Excuse me. Here's where this relationship matters. Okay, here's where this illustration comes in, and why it's utterly critical that this whole worldview business be sorted out before we add another person to the equation. Because if you want to head in one direction, right? You link arms, you want to head in one direction, and the person to whom you are bound wants to go a different direction, you're in trouble. And to reiterate something else, what this person is signing on to in this relationship with you is what they know about you. That's what they're signing on for. That's what they're agreeing to. It's what they know about you. And what they know about you is based entirely on the claims you've made about yourself. That's what they're basing it off of, okay? So if you enter into the relationship saying, yeah, I'm going to go this direction. Yeah, you're going that way. Okay, I'll go. Yeah, I'm going to go that direction. That's great. The entire relationship's success, that's not hyperbole, the entire relationship's success from that day forward depends on that having been accurate information. If you do change which direction you want to go partway into the relationship, the best you can hope for from here on out is that you'll both be rendered ineffective in all you hope to accomplish. You want to go this direction, they want to go that direction, and now you are just locked in place. Neither of you advances any of the causes you believe in, neither of you furthers anything of import, you're both just in deadlock. That's the best case scenario, is that now you just rot. You just waste away in insignificance, indifference, apathy, and cynicism, forever deadlocked. Best case scenario. At worst, you'll go through a nasty breakup, a nasty divorce, and suffer the lifelong effects of that tearing. Because when you are bound together, you are now conjoined. There is no clean breakup. There's no such thing. You'll never be the same again. But more to say on that when we get further into the masterclass. So, it's absolutely critical that you know which direction is worth traveling in for the rest of your life before you pile on, before you tack on to that till death do us part. Do you see it? Here's a practical example. Say you're seeing someone. You both want to have kids. Neato. Okay. And let's say you both agree that you want said kids to grow up to be functioning and contributing members of society. Double neato. You've agreed on a desired outcome. Huh? Or have you? Have you defined what it means to be a functioning and contributing member of society? That is, when each of you pictures that, outcome in your head, what does it look like in practical, measurable terms? Have you talked about it? I have a dear friend that I went through college with, and his folks took me in when I was homeless. So they're basically a second family to me. I've talked about them before. Love them to pieces. The parents in question here are both super smart, okay? Both had advanced STEM degrees and successful careers behind them by the time they started having kids, okay? By the time family planning came around, they're both like, check in the box, accomplishments, okay? They're good, okay? They were financially responsible, hardworking, and sensible people by the time. Financially responsible, hardworking, and sensible people by the time kids came around. They did not, however, have shared definitions of what a functioning and contributing member of society looked like. Thing is, up to that point, their differing definitions didn't matter much. They both wanted to work in their respective fields, they wanted to make money, they wanted to get a house, be debt-free, all of which is perfectly fine in a vacuum. But then they started their family, and a new problem arose. What worldview would they teach and model and pass on to their children? What worldview would they model for their progeny? See, one of the parents was a practical atheist. The other was a loosely practicing Catholic. Okay? Up until that point, they'd been just fine ignoring this difference because one going solo to Mass on occasion had very little impact on their schedule or how they related to one another, okay? They didn't see the issue, as I said, until the time came to decide what they would teach their children. And all of a sudden, it mattered a great deal. One accused the other of believing superstitious nonsense. The other believed that a little religion is good for kids, and that it wouldn't hurt to take them to church every so often. Ultimately, for the sake of keeping the peace, they decided not to decide. That is, rather than make the hard decision themselves, rather than do the wrestling themselves, rather than reconcile this difference themselves, like two grown adults, they decided to punt the decision onto their children, letting the children decide on a given Sunday whether they would go to church with the one or stay home with the other. Can anyone guess what happened next? Were any of you those kids? If you were, then you already know how important one's worldview is. You've lived the consequences of them not being taken seriously. And if you want to put this to the test, for yourself here, right now, just swap out any worldview for those in the story. Okay? Let's say that one is a moral relativist and the other, well, isn't. Okay? If you're familiar with moral relativism. How are they supposed to raise their children if one parent claims they don't believe in an objective right and wrong? It's all relative. Okay? And the other one believes that there is indeed such a thing as right and wrong. How are you supposed to raise kids in that? How are they supposed to have a coherent role model? A coherent set of instructions for how to navigate the world? Okay. What if one is an existential nihilist and the other's a Hindu? An Islamist and a feminist? A socialist and an anarchist? I could go on and on. These are irreconcilable differences. Differences that will have an outsized impact on the well-being of the children you hope to raise to be functioning and contributing members of society. Do you see it? Obviously, having kids and deciding how to raise them will push these dichotomies to their breaking point. But you say, for whatever reason, you don't take whatever for illustrative purposes here, okay? Say you, for whatever reason, will not have children. Does this still matter? Yes. Yes, it does. These irreconcilables will bring with them the hazard of schisms everywhere you look in life. What kind of wedding will you have? Her parents are very traditional, and in their culture, the formalities must be observed. She wants to honor her parents and her elders with whom she has a good relationship, but you think those traditions are stupid, and you resent them meddling in your affairs. What do you think, gang? This scenario doesn't have any chance of causing problems, does it? It's February 2020. It's February 2020. And a novel virus that's spreading like wildfire all over the world just got an official name. COVID-19. There are a lot of unknowns, and reports of the danger it poses vary wildly. Okay? Some of the world's governments urge people to take precautions and to practice good hygiene, wash your hands a lot, so forth. Other governments literally weld people into their homes who are sick. Still others start rounding up the ill and putting them in concentration camps. Some do nothing at all. What do? You're single? Do whatever you want. Pick, choose, doesn't matter. Do you. Godspeed, Spider-Man. But what if you're in a relationship? Now what? That change things? Who makes judgment calls for your household on best practices? What if you disagree? When decisions have to be made and you reach an impasse between you two, who's the 51% vote in your relationship and who's the 49%? How are those decisions made in the first place? On what grounds or evidence ought you act? I ran into one possible answer to that question this past week. Okay? I ran into this very instance. Credentialism. Any of you familiar with the worldview of credentialism? This is the tendency to place excessive importance on formal qualifications, degrees, certifications, titles, institutional affiliations, as indicators of intelligence, competence, or authority, sometimes dismissing people who lack those credentials, regardless of their actual knowledge or ability. Okay, related to this, you may have heard of the appeal to authority, which is a logical fallacy where a claim is treated as true mainly because an authority or expert said it. Okay, similar vein, technocracy. This is a worldview favoring governance or decision-making by technical experts or specialists. Okay, then there's scientism. Scientism, an excessive belief that scientific institutions or methods are the only valid path to knowledge. And elitism, a broader attitude that certain educated or high-status groups are inherently superior. In this case, the broader worldview behind credentialism, where institutional validation is treated as the primary source of legitimacy, it's a kind of technocratic elitism. Say this describes you, yeah? You're in February of 2020. News reports are saying all sorts of crazy stuff about this virus. What prescriptions of behavior might this person, our credentialist, what prescriptions for behavior might this person end up following? Might they end up wearing 2, 3, even 4 surgical masks stacked on top of each other? What if you, their counterpart, are skeptical of the ever-changing prescriptions of the experts, the contradictory opinions between experts, and so you refuse to double mask, opting instead for common sense approaches to hygiene that don't involve the madness that would prescribe that you have to wear a mask going into a restaurant, but as soon as you sit down at your table, you can take the mask off. Because after all, once you are securely seated at a table in a restaurant, germs can no longer leave or enter the area that you're in, okay? What do you think, gang? You and your partner, these are your approaches. This scenario doesn't have any chance of causing problems in the relationship, does it? Your worldview informs everything you do in life. Everything. Now, I'm not saying that you have to agree on each and every little thing with this other person, which, incidentally, would mean we would all die alone. Just for the record, we would all die alone, okay? You don't have complete overlap on every single stinking thing and all it ain't gonna happen, you're gonna die alone, okay? But I am saying that you need to be on the same page with the major things. That's why this matters to everyone. There is no escaping the import of this. You cannot opt out. You cannot say, I don't care. Yes, you do. You do care. About a great many things. That's your worldview. And this season of singleness is the only time you have to put words to what you think and believe without harming another person in the process. You will never get another chance to do so in a vacuum. Once your life is entangled with another, once you have joined your life with another, all worldview investigation and resultant changes will cause pain. This is something wise parents ought to encourage their young teenagers to consider. They don't need to have everything sorted out by the time they're 14. That's not what I'm saying. But they should have a pretty good idea of some things by 16 or 17, certainly by 18. Remember, singleness is the opportunity to cement who we are, what we believe, and what we pursue, prior to adding another human to the equation. This talk might well have been called Figuring Me Out. Thank you for the message, Squirrel. Sorry, gang. I do not know why chat is not showing up on Twitch. It should be. It's very odd. That's a new one for me. Huh. Twitch has been making changes lately. A lot of changes lately. I think they broke it. This is the first stream since they made changes. I think they broke it. Okay, well, I guess Twitch has to get buggered. Twitch chose this. I've changed nothing. It should be working. This is a Twitch problem, not a me problem. Thank you for letting me know, but, yep. For tonight, chat is siloed. Which I don't love. But I don't have a say. They didn't ask my opinion. Sorry, gang. Yep, thank you, Squirrel. I appreciate you, sir. For those of you who don't know, I'm multi-streaming. I'm on Rumble, Twitch, YouTube. I'm on all of them. And chat right here is supposed to show all of the chat. But really, you're only seeing the Rumble chat right now. For some reason. I don't know why. It broken. So you can pull it up on all the platforms if you want to be very extra and see what all is going on in chat. Sorry, you guys can't communicate with one another right now. I can't see chat in any case as I'm lecturing, so I can't see them. But yikes, I guess this is something that now I have to waste my evening caring about, which is a terrible shame because I was planning on spending this evening, well, not doing this. Great. Thanks, Twitch. Piece of crap. Okay. This stream, tonight's stream, about singleness, might well have been called Figuring Me Out. Learn me. Who am I? What do I believe? What will I pursue? What is the direction for my life? I could have named it any of those things, and it would have been appropriate, because figuring that out is critical before bringing someone else along. We've got to get me right before we can get we right. You guys have heard me say it before, but to belabor the point, oxygen masks. If you guys are flying on a plane somewhere and every single safety brief, right? In the event that the cabin loses pressure, oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling compartments. Okay, and then what do they say? First, before rendering assistance to anybody else, secure your own gas mask. Secure your mask first. Why? Is it selfish? No. It's because, especially if you've got a little kid with you and it's not another like functioning adult, or maybe it's another adult but they're in shock, okay? Whatever it is, you take care of your own mask first, okay? Then you've got a little kid next to you. Maybe you take care of them. All right, the reason for this is if you black out, I did not disable raids on Rumble. I forgot to disable raids on Rumble. Son of a... All right. Going into settings right now to disable raids on Rumble. Disable raids on Rumble. Save. Thank you, Catch. I appreciate it very much, sir. Means an awful heckin' lot. An awful heckin' lot. I hope that your stream went well. This is an indication to me that I get to reclaim bandwidth. I get to pull back in that tab, which is terribly exciting. We get to put friends before frames. You guys know this, but it doesn't make any sense for me to be lurking me. So we rein it back in. We rein it back in. Had the good pleasure of meeting Catch a little while back here. Gang, you guys know that I disable raids on Friday nights because often what we are talking about is heavy indeed. And it's impossible for me to switch gears from the seriousness to the hype that a raid deserves. So, sir, I'm grateful as heck for the raid. It means an awful lot. I aim to steward well that which you've entrusted to me. I take it quite seriously. Raiders, hello. It's nice to meet you. I do not get to give the full intro here because we are in the middle of a lecture. So, I am terribly sorry for you guys being dropped into the middle of the thing. I don't get to greet you guys proper like. I absolutely do not. Every other stream of the week, including the 2 tomorrow and the ones on Tuesdays, are open to raid all of the time. And there's a bounding silliness and I get to chat with you guys. I do not get to tonight. I can't even see chat right now. Can't see chat. Incidentally, chat is broken. It was brought to my attention. Normally, you'd be able to see Twitch chat and Rumble chat and YouTube chat all right here in one place. But Twitch made some sort of change between Tuesday and now. And so you can only see Rumble chat on the side for some reason. So tonight is apparently just super scuffed. And for that, you have my sincere apologies. This is serious material indeed. And you deserve better. You deserve better than my being a bumbling idiot. We're talking about singleness. We're in the Relationships Masterclass. This is meant to be a comprehensive look at the seasons of relationships that we go through, from singleness to married, if indeed someone does get married. This is meant to be a comprehensive look at all of it. We had an introduction a couple weeks ago and some singleness to follow. And now we are in night 2 of singleness. And I will be jumping back to this after a quick away. So I'm going to leave you guys in the hopefully capable arms of Chair while I reset some things. More laddie. That's what I need. More laddie. Okay, now we're sure. Everything's disabled. Twitch chat is broken. Alright, well, the action's on Rumble, I guess. Twitch just can't let us have nice things, can they? They just hate it when we have nice things. Okay. Oxygen masks. I've spoken to this many times over the years with you guys for many different subjects. Oxygen masks on a plane. You're flying somewhere, you get a safety brief when you get on that plane that says, in the event that the cabin loses pressure, oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling compartments. Set up yours first. Right? Before you attend to anyone else around you, before your companion, your child, or anyone else, you have to get you right. Otherwise, you're no good to anyone else. Okay? If you black out, the kid's not going to save you. Kid's useless. Kid doesn't know this stuff. Kid's not going to act. If someone else is going into shock, they're not going to help you either. Worst case scenario, kid, companion, person in shock, whoever it is, they black out after or while you're getting your oxygen mask figured, okay? You get this thing sorted. Very important. You get locked in. Kid blacks out. That's okay, because now you're all right. Now you've got oxygen flowing, and now you can get the mask on their unconscious self. Okay, on them. And they will live. Worst thing that happens is they wake up, okay? Maybe they won't be happy that they were unconscious for 10 seconds, but they're alive. But if you fuss about their mask first, even if you get their mask on there successfully so that the kid survives, you black out and die. And now the kid can't do anything about it. And now the kid grows up without a parent. Now the kid has a complex because they let their parent die, etc. You both could have lived. You both could have lived. Your own oxygen mask first. You can both come out of it okay. As long as you get you right first. That is singleness. That's the picture of singleness. You have to get you figured out before you're any good to anyone else. It's critically important that we understand this. Me before we. It's not selfish. It's actually the most loving course. The only loving approach that we can have to this whole thing. The rest of it doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen well. Okay? The rest of it falls apart unless you get you right first. That's the recipe for disaster and the ingredients required for broken and miserable relationships if you don't. Now, it's also important to understand something else about this worldview stuff, okay? If you've got all those things answered, if you've got your worldview sorted out, if you've answered the big questions, and you know what's worth pointing your life at, you know what's worth sacrificing your life for, you know all those things, awesome! You are so cool! You give me hope for mankind, and I'm glad to cheer. But if your prospective partner hasn't done that same legwork, Don't miss this, gang. It takes two. It takes two. You're not in a vacuum when you add another person to the mix. Now, there's two of you. You both need to have things figured out. Not one. Not one. Both. No exceptions. Zero exceptions. We're the exception. You're not the exception. Zero exceptions. There's language for this. There's language for this that goes back to antiquity. Okay? And it's used as a warning for folks looking to link arms with somebody, okay? Looking to marry, looking to settle down. And that language, that admonition, that warning, that cautionary pitch to all would-be couples was this: do not be unequally yoked. What does that mean, guys? Like, one hits the gym and is getting stacked and the other isn't? Like, this one understands creatine? Like, we getting yoked? Or okay. To understand this, you need to understand a bit about ye olde agriculture, okay? Y'all know what a plow is, right? Actually, I take that question back. That's a rhetorical question. I don't know that I can take that for granted in 2026. So, okay. A plow. A plow is like a metal spike hook thing, okay, that's dragged by rope usually, okay, by either a person or by an animal, and it tears a line in the dirt, okay, so that seeds can be planted in the rows of lines that you make, okay? Agriculture, everything needs a certain amount of space to grow, and so depending on what kind of crops you're growing in an agrarian world, you drag lines for your corn or for your tomatoes or for your potatoes or whatever it is, okay? And so the soil is hard, the soil is packed, you get a plow running on it, and it rips a line in that so that you don't need to get out a shovel and go along, okay? You can draw nice straight lines, and it tears up the soil so that you can plant in those soils, okay? That's what it is. And a yoke, this is Y-O-K-E, okay? This is the kind of yoke, not the egg kind, Y-O-K-E. It's a wooden beam apparatus thing that's been used for thousands of years, okay? For as nearly as long as we've been using draft animals to help us pull heavy things, okay? So, for instance, you can link together two oxen, okay? And then have them both walk together, side by side, okay? They're just chilling, oxen next to oxen, okay? And they pull the plow together, okay? And if you know anything about draft pulling, you know that two can pull far more weight than the sum of their individual contributions. An apt metaphor for the efficacy of a couple in marriage. But that's for later in the series. So, okay, a yoke is used to connect the two animals together so that they can pull simultaneously, okay? That's what the yoke is for. I said that you could pair up two cattle and they'd pull together, but they're not the only animals that can do this, okay? They're not the only beasts of burden that do the drafting, okay? You can do this with mules, okay, with horses, any such critters, all right? The thing is, though, that there's a danger in this. If you try to put, for instance, two different animals together, all right, under the yoke together, okay? Say you put like a cow and a donkey together, all right? They're different stride lengths, different muscle distribution, different height, different mass, different temperaments. All of that is a recipe for disaster with these two animals, and you will end up with much more trouble than you bargained for, okay? So, from antiquity to today, incidentally, it has been highly frowned upon, if not outlawed, to yoke together animals of different kinds, because it's considered dangerous and cruel. Animal rights people get uppity about this because it's considered animal cruelty, okay? But mixing species isn't the only danger in this. Say you're using cattle, okay? This is like the most common story. You got a cattle pulling, okay? You'll avoid many of the problems that arise from mixing critters, okay? But there's still one thing to consider. Cattle, like people, are individuals. Ask anyone who does any kind of ranching, anyone who works with beasts of burden, okay? They'll tell you that these animals have personalities of their own. Some are troublemakers, some are sweethearts. Some live to please, others to make your life miserable. Okay? And there's a big difference, incidentally, in an animal that's an experienced puller and one that's never been under load before. One knows what it's doing, the other doesn't. One knows its own strength, the other doesn't. One listens to commands, the other might not. And this isn't a minor detail, y'all. If one animal is pulling harder or at a different pace than the other, not only will the whole operation pull to one side, okay, ruining your crop lines, now you're going in circles, okay, and you gotta start over, do the entire thing over again, but the weaker of the two animals can actually be choked and killed by the very same apparatus that binds the animals together. They'll be dragged, and they can die. They're the same species, they look similar, but they're pulling with different ability and different skill. The reason this ancient counsel was given to people is the same. If one of you has clear direction in life, you know what you're after and you're driven to pursue it, and the other has no such convictions, just wants to vibe, you're in trouble. And so are they. The best case scenario in that setup is that the efficacy of your relationship in achieving anything whatsoever will be stunted massively. Again, right back to the two of you pulling in opposite directions. Best case scenario, you'll be ineffective in everything. At worst, the strain on the relationship by the uneven pulling will be intolerable, and someone will get dragged. Someone will get hurt. Do you see it? No two cattle are exactly alike, but yoking two together can be done safely if they're enough alike. And if done right, the efficacy of their combined efforts will far outpace their efforts solo, as individuals. No two people are exactly alike, but yoking two together can be done safely if you're enough alike on the major issues. And if done right, the efficacy of their combined efforts will far outpace their efforts solo, as individuals. The time to get worldview stuff sorted is while you are yet single. I'm going to keep repeating this until it's burnt into the brains of everybody listening to this. Singleness is the opportunity to cement who we are, what we believe, and what we'll pursue prior to adding another human to the equation. Now, very importantly, I need to revisit something I just said that we kind of quickly glossed over here, okay? And I can't have y'all miss it. I said that the two parties in a relationship need to agree on the big things, and that's true. But I need to reiterate that it's okay, because some of you missed this, it's okay if y'all disagree on the minor, inconsequential preference type stuff, okay? Here's a phrase you've likely heard, but I want you to commit this to memory, okay? The perfect is the enemy of the good. The perfect is the enemy of the good. If you try to find someone, in this case, this use case, with perfect overlap in every single thing before settling down, you'll die alone. I can say with 100% certainty. Okay? You'll die alone. Do not waste your time or theirs by searching for this thing that cannot be found. Okay? How many of you have heard the phrase, another phrase here, how many of you have heard the phrase, if both of you are the same, then one of you is redundant? Or similarly, if both of you are the same, one of you is unnecessary. Anybody ever heard those things? I heard those things quite a lot from a lot of wise old people, okay? The differences between us are the spice in a relationship. Don't look for concurrence in each and everything, especially inconsequential things that don't have any bearing on how you'll navigate life. Okay? Preference type things. Fun little... We'll talk about this more as we get into dating, okay? Later in the masterclass, later in the series. But here's a quick teaser. If you are both the same, then your strengths are redundant and your weaknesses are compounded. So don't hold out for perfect. Get the major worldview questions about life answered. And link arms with someone who's done the same and reached the same conclusions as you about the big things, about the big questions. As we close, here's a teaser for next week. I want to bring you back to where we started tonight, okay? Back to these. How many of you have read the Mafia Manifesto that I wrote? It's posted in the community Discord. Perhaps you were there on the stream where I finally finished it and published it, and I read it. I spent the entire stream reading it out. Writing out that thing took me a long time. It took months of deep thought. Draft after draft, edit after edit, addition. I'm going to take this, I'll reword this, find the right way of communicating this idea. No, that's not quite what I'm after. A little bit better. Okay. And that's because it mattered. Not that I got it done. No one was demanding it of me. I didn't have hard and fast deadlines to hit. It mattered because I needed it to be true and I needed it to be accurate. That's why it took so long. It mattered that it captured well what all was happening in my head and my heart about y'all in this project. And now, anyone here in chat, on Twitch chat at any rate, I mean, you do the same thing on Rumble, but it won't pop up here because chat is broken, stupid. Any one of you in chat can punch in !, mission statement. Okay? Pulls up the quick, pithy version of the longer manifesto. Okay? And for the unfamiliar, it reads as follows. My purpose, me, Gus, my purpose here on the internet is this, : through hard truths and loving encouragement, I would seek to restore our stomach for difficulty. I would have us learn to wisely negotiate human interaction once more. And I would take upon myself responsibility for modeling and teaching the means and methods by which we might accomplish such. Besides communicating what motivates you, what else does a mission statement communicate? What you hope to achieve. The mission statement I just read does just that. So, what does this have to do with relationships? What does this have to do with our purposes here in this series? Tell me. What are these buildings for? We started here. Great Pyramid of Giza. What are these buildings for? What's the purpose of having constructed them? Or for constructing the ones that are underway or planned? How about the pyramids here? What were they for? Some of you know this. This is some basic history type quiz for you here. Pharaohs, the kings in Egypt, were thought to be gods. And these are tombs for their so-called gods. They built these massive edifices like this to entomb their leader and see them off into the afterlife. Okay, that was the purpose of this thing. What about major housing projects? Why does their careful engineering matter? What about the Burj Khalifa? Hang on. All right. What about the Burj Khalifa? Finished in 2010. What was the purpose of building this? This explicitly was a demonstration of wealth, used to draw in businesses, draw in business, draw in investment into the Middle East in particular. Do business here in Dubai. Look at what all we got going on. We've got our stuff together. Come on in, baby. It would have been quite embarrassing if they didn't get that one right. If that thing came tumbling down, it doesn't exactly bode well, and it doesn't speak to the quality that they hoped to present to the world, right? Okay. How about the structural integrity of an orphanage? Why ought we care about getting that right? What about this one? I've got one more building to show you. One more building to show you. This is a theoretical building that Japan designed back in the 90s, incidentally, using all of the latest techniques in engineering and materials science. You can look it up. That's it, by the way. You may notice in the foreground many of the other buildings that we've discussed here tonight, that we've pointed out here tonight. You can see right here. This is the Creek Tower. The cables. Or I'm sorry, that's here. This is the Dubai Creek Tower. This is the one right here. There's our Anteater Tower, the Ultima Tower that's supposed to go in San Francisco. There's the Exceed 4000, which incidentally was designed to sort of look like Mount Fuji in Japan, and which, incidentally, would be higher than Mount Fuji. This is the Tokyo Tower of Babel, its actual name. What's the purpose of that tower? That tower, incidentally, if constructed, it's not going to be, certainly not anytime soon, if it were constructed, would be taller than Mount Everest. Starting at sea level, right there in Tokyo, it would be taller than Mount Everest. I think the estimate was that it would take $22 trillion to build. The Exceed 4000, the one that's a little bit smaller than that, the Mount Fuji one, they need to pressurize a whole bunch of the upper layers of it because the oxygen is so thin up there already that people would have trouble breathing on the upper layers. How about this one? There's that one. This one needs to be pressurized right here. These people would have trouble breathing right here because the atmosphere is too thin. What about this? What's the purpose of that building? For a clue, we might ask what the purpose of its namesake was. Okay, guys, we're talking about buildings again. What does this have to do with relationships? I will answer that by way of a question. A question that would be ridiculous on its face, if not for its critical implications. Why do you want to be in a relationship in the first place? Now, to be clear, I'm not asking, why would one want to be in a relationship? This question is not some random rhetorical, like, mankind. This question is tailored to you specifically and no other. Why do you want to be in a relationship? This is also not a rhetorical question. I have no idea what your truthful answer would be. What's more, you might be surprised to find that your answers differ from that of many potential prospects and partners that you'd encounter. If singleness is a gift, one meant as a means by which we might pursue with singular, undistracted focus the highest conceivable good, whether that's pulling children out of sex slavery, building homes for the most vulnerable populations around the world, curing diseases, treating the sick, fighting injustice and criminality, teaching the next generation to be good stewards of their time, talents, and treasures, or entering into and deepening relationship with the God who cares about all of those things. No matter what you choose to pursue, with that single-minded focus, adding another human into the equation has the potential to disrupt that work. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If you're doing singleness right, and you are on a mission, okay? You are on mission. And you are chasing the good. Will the addition, not a rhetorical question, legitimate question, will the addition of another person in your life be a net benefit to accomplishing your life's mission? Or will their addition be a net drain, a hindrance to that pursuit? I have known many a man, mission statement in hand, who, as soon as they see a pretty girl, rip it up and toss it out the window for her sake. Their work totally derailed by a pretty face. Before I ask the question again, you should know that if you're not able to be honest here, with yourself, not in chat, not anywhere, with yourself, then nothing else I say will be of any benefit to you whatsoever in this series. If you cannot answer this question in good faith with yourself, then you're in trouble. I encourage you, therefore, to be honest. Why do you want to be in a relationship in the first place? Put another way, what's the building for? You seek to build a thing. Upward, grand, marvelous. For what purpose? If you can't answer that question, you're in trouble. But if you can, if you are honest, let's go through it. Is it because you're lonely? Is it because your parents keep asking, when will you find a girl? When will you find a guy? Is it because there are cultural expectations that have been placed on you? And you're tired of feeling guilty about not living up to what everybody else is doing? The standard? Is it because you think being in a relationship, settling down, putting a ring on it will give you security? Financial security, physical security? Is it because you want the validation that comes with someone choosing you? What's the building for? Should it be built? Where's the Tower of Babel? I invite you to consider these questions this week, gang. I want you to write a mission statement for your life. I wrote out a mission statement for this project, what I aimed to accomplish here, what I hope to achieve here, whom I hope to serve, and how I hope to serve. I wrote all that out. It's in the Mafia Manifesto. I hope you'll read it if you haven't. I want you to write one. For you. For your life. What's your mission statement? What's your life for? And if you can't, that should give you pause. This is worth spending your time on. Not just for relationship purposes, but for life purposes. And if you can, come up with a solid mission statement, something that's worth sacrificing your life for, ask yourself if that mission work would be benefited by two people equally yoked, pulling together. If yes, then the rest of this series will be integral for you to attend. So set an alarm for the next ones, yeah? Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be continuing into this. We've got one more night of singleness. If I can manage it, I hope to not stretch it to 2. One more night of singleness. I will attempt to wrap it up with practical examples of how to use maximally your singleness, regardless of how long that season lasts you. And this will include what I promised last time this one would. All the stories of how I got this very wrong. How I blew it. How I screwed this up. And how I got some things right. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. And I want you guys to know, so that you don't have to repeat all the same mistakes. Mission statement. Think about it. What do you want out of life? And what you come up with, is that worthy of you? Is that worthy of your life? Will it last? Will it matter in 5 years, 10, 50? If you get to live that long? Will what you write down matter? Or will you regret having sacrificed your life upon its altar in a decade or 3? These are questions that every 16, 17, and 18-year-old ought be wrestling with. They won't have definitive answers. They lack the time. They lack the wisdom to know for certain their calling and all of their gifting and how it all matches together. They don't fully grasp and appreciate the complexities of the world and all of its nuance and all of its goodness and all of its terror. But they should have a pretty good handle on this sort of thing, and they can refine their ideas down the line. How old are you? And have you ever asked these questions? Now's the time. Now, my admonishment here, my encouragement is chiefly, first and foremost, for the single among you. The single listening. Those who have not yet put a ring on it. I adjure you, take this seriously and get these questions answered before you do. Again, you will not get another chance to do so without causing pain. Once there is a ring on it, if you change directions, it will cause pain. Necessarily. It will. So, you need to get right today who you are and what's worthy of you, and then communicate that to a prospective partner. And if they're not on the same page as you, they're not the one for you. We'll talk about that more in the weeks to come. But you need to get that right today, in this season. Now, that said, this is still a valuable exercise for those of you who are already in relationship, those of you who have already entangled your life with another. This is still valuable for you to put words to. To reiterate, each of us has a worldview. It's all the things that you believe. It's the lens through which you view all of life. It's what determines what you find to be valuable, or even worth talking about. This does affect you. And having those questions answered for yourself, who you are, what you believe, and what you'll pursue, you need to know that if your life is to be of any consequence whatsoever. Do this by yourself. This is a question for you. I encourage your partners to do the same for themselves. We'll talk more about this next week. I promised that this entire project, this entire series, would be of value to you, regardless of which season of relationship you are in. Some of you have children, and you might have made some mistakes. You might have foregone best practices up to this point. You may feel that you've blown it. But what about your kids? You need to know this stuff so that you can teach them this stuff. So that you can take this stuff seriously and have them watch you take it seriously. You're being watched. You're being watched. Even if you yourself are not single, you know people who are. Or you're raising people who are. Well, they're not dating age yet. Well, okay, then you've got some time to practice. They need this, and you know they need this. And I'm sad to say that an awful lot of you guys didn't hear anything even resembling this when you needed it. You know when I needed to hear all of this stuff? 20 years ago. When I was a kid. I needed to hear all of this when I was 12. And I didn't. Last thing I'll say. Gang, this is scary stuff to do solo. Again, I have more to say about this next week. This is scary stuff to do solo. So don't. Yes, you need to come up with answers for yourself. Yes, you do need to make your own mission statement. You can't have somebody write it for you. But you can do this with the counsel of people who love and know you and care about you. And you can ask them, how do you see me? Who do you see when you look at me? Who do you know me to be? What have I demonstrated as my pursuits, as my highest good? What have I communicated with my words and my action as things that I value above all else? Try to get as objective a view as you can. Don't wrestle with these ideas and the hurt and the heartache that may be concomitant to them solo. Don't do it solo. Join the Mafia community. It's what we're doing here. That's the point of this community. It's not for memes and lulz, though we have those. We are purposed with doing something more. We are purposed with doing something more valuable. There are countless communities out there that exist just for memes and lols. But as I'm constantly want to say around here, real relationships, the kind I aim to foster here in the Mafia community, involve the silly, the memes and lols, and the serious. We need both. Be a part of those communities. Have fun! But don't eschew the seriousness. Because the right thing and the easy thing are rarely the same thing. Choose a community that includes the hard stuff. We call it doing life together on hard mode. And I don't encourage doing that solo. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's perilous. Perilous to do life alone. You won't be effective at it at any rate. So don't do it. Take it seriously enough to have a community around you while you do it. Get plugged into this project. Follow on Rumble, follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. For a mix of those things. Set an alarm for the talks that are to follow. 5 p.m. Pacific time on Friday nights as we continue through the Masterclass. You need this, and so does the world. And even if the season doesn't immediately affect you, it will affect the people around you. Remember, a failing relationship collapsing doesn't just affect the people in it. It affects everyone around them. You know this to be true. We need to care about this. And if we will, if we do, if you will join me in taking this seriously, we can save the world. Not hyperbole. We can save the world. If you will take this sort of thing seriously and link arms with people who also take it seriously and esteem it as worthy of their time and their effort. Join the Discord. Get plugged into the rendezvous. The next round of CNRs, Cosa Nostra Rendezvous, the next round of CNRs kicks off in September, the first week of September, which will be here much faster than we each think. If you are at all interested in getting plugged into something like that, join the Discord. And once you have, be brave. Reach out. DM anyone with the role Consulente. And ask, all right, how do I get into this thing? How do I get plugged into hard mode? What are next steps? What do I got to do? And they'll point you in the right direction. They'll give you whatever info you've got, answer whatever questions you have. And if somehow you've come up with, you've concocted a question that's never been conceived of before, then they'll direct it to me. We'll get you squared away. This is what we do. I apologize for the disruptions tonight, you guys. I apologize for not having been on top of more things, for the technical issues, and all the rest. I wanted to wrap it up much sooner than this. I apologize for how long we ran, but I am grateful for your patience. I am grateful for your long suffering. I had hoped to get you out of here at the 90-minute mark, and I've missed that by a long ways indeed. It's never lost on me, again, that you could be spending your Friday night any old where doing any old thing. Certainly you could be doing easier things with your time. But you didn't. You chose to spend that time here. And that gives me hope. Gang, the world needs more people who are willing to do the hard thing. More people who've done what you have. And I'm humbled to spend my time in such august company. And it's to you, that remarkable sort, that I get to raise my final glass of the night. Thank you. Next stream is tomorrow morning, you guys. 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's just chatting stream. It's as silly or serious as you guys want to make it. Hopefully, we get the chat thing sorted out between now and then. I'll let you know. I suppose we'll find out together. I hope to see you guys there for it. Tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. Pacific, we'll finish Bramble. Hopefully finish Bramble. Thank you to everybody who has welcomed in the folks who are joining this life. Who are jumping into the Mafia. It's no small thing to choose this. I thank you guys for being an encouragement to them. For rewarding their courage. It means a lot. It means an awful lot. And thank you again to everybody who sacrifices to make this happen. This is a business. None of this happens. Silly or serious, none of this happens without the people who sacrifice financially to make it so. Whether that's through Rumble, through Coffee, through Patreon, all of you guys who part with hard-won dollars that could, again, go toward anything else, but they go here instead. Because you've decided that this is worth that sacrifice. Thank you. Any good that comes from this project can be traced right back to you. Thank you. So what will it look like, gang? What will this humaning business look like in your life if you decide to join up and do these things? What does it look like to do hard mode alongside the remarkable men and women of the Mafia who've agreed to try the same? What does the silliness look like tomorrow? What will the rest of singleness look like next week? Come and see. Come and see. And as ever, I will strive to see that it's a decision that you don't regret. In the meantime, I wish for you each marvelous evenings, mornings, wherever ye be. And I will see you on the other side.